In 2002, scientists from Stanford University used satellite tracking tags to monitor the movements of great white sharks along the coast of California. The aim of this study was to find out why great white sharks disappear during the winter season. Because of this, they discovered a mysterious place that is now called the White Shark Cafe. During autumn, the food supply for great white sharks increases because of the abundance of pinnipeds such as sea lions and seals found along the coast of California. Some of these animals also migrate to the area to breed. Tracking data has shown that by winter, great white sharks leave the coast and travel far out into the ocean. Some reach as far as Hawaii, but most gather in an area between California and Hawaii. At first, it was believed that there were almost no food sources in that part of the ocean, but new studies have shown that it actually has a complete food chain, which sharks take advantage of by diving deep. Based on data collected in 2018, male and female great white sharks behave differently in this area, although more studies are still needed. It is believed that finding food and breeding are the main reasons for their unusual journeys. In the year following this research, another important study was conducted, but this time it was on land. Now, before we continue with the video, if you are new to our channel, click the subscribe button so you are always updated with new information. Chapter 1. The Longest Migration. Before 2019, it was believed that the caribou had the longest migration on land. However, there was little solid evidence to support this. This changed when a study was published in Scientific Reports, where scientists compared the movements of different mammals using GPS data sets to determine which had the longest migrations and movements in the world. Caribou spend their summers at higher latitudes to reduce the risk from predators during the time when they give birth to their young. When the harsh winter begins, most of them move to places that are safer and easier to live in. When spring comes, as the ice melts and fresh plants reappear and the paths open up, they begin to return to their calving grounds. The study showed that the straight-line distance between their migration areas reaches more than 1,000 kilometers for the entire round trip. The study also confirmed that the caribou has the longest migration of any land mammal. However, it also showed that there are some animals that travel a greater total distance within a year. This refers to the total of all the distances they travel each time they move from one location to another. In the vast grasslands of Mongolia, a gray wolf was recorded to have traveled more than 7,000 kilometers within a year. However, this movement is considered part of territorial defense and not a migration. Scientists also discovered that the Mongolian wild ass, or hulan, can travel farther than the caribou, covering more than 6,000 kilometers each year. But this type of movement is considered nomadic, or without a permanent route being followed. As impressive as these distances are, they are still small compared to the extremely long migrations carried out by some sea animals and birds. Humpback whale. More than 5,000 miles to the south in the waters of Hawaii, you can see a playful humpback whale seemingly showing off in front of a small humpback calf. The places where humpback whales breed are widely scattered across the tropical and equatorial regions of the world's oceans. These warmer waters provide a safe and more comfortable environment for humpback whales to care for their young during the winter season. Because the pregnancy of a humpback whale lasts for almost a year, those of the right age for breeding also mate here. Although these tropical oceans are ideal places to spend the winter, most of the time they lack the food and other natural resources that whales need to survive throughout the year. That's why, as spring approaches, they begin their long journey toward colder but more abundant oceans. The exact location of their feeding grounds and the distance of their journey vary depending on the whale population. For some, this journey can reach up to 8,000 kilometers in just one direction. When they arrive at their feeding grounds, they spend the entire summer storing fat under their skin by eating small crustaceans and fish in preparation for the long journey back to the tropical ocean. In 2013, a female gray whale is believed to have made an extremely rare migration that exceeded 20,000 kilometers, setting a new record for the longest migration by a mammal. But even with a journey that long, it would still be surpassed by animals that have the ability to fly. Arctic tern. The Arctic tern breeds and raises its chicks in the Arctic and subarctic regions during the summer in the northern hemisphere. When the breeding season is over, this little bird, which weighs only about 100 grams, begins its endless pursuit of summer to take advantage of the abundant food supply. As it follows the sunlight, it flies all the way to Antarctica to experience summer in the southern hemisphere. After that, it simply repeats the same journey back to the north. The Arctic tern is not the only one that makes this amazing migration. The sooty shearwater also travels between the two polar regions each year and records a total distance of over 60,000 kilometers traveled. In a 2010 study, scientists used a transmitter attached to an Arctic tern. They discovered that the bird's route was not straight. Instead, it follows a zigzag path to take advantage of favorable weather conditions and more opportunities to find food. Because of this, the total distance it travels in one full migration cycle can reach over 70,000 kilometers. This is believed to be the longest migration of any animal in the world. In the lifetime of an Arctic tern, it can travel more than 2 million kilometers. Chapter 2. Geographical Challenges. No matter how long their journey is, each migration has its own challenges, and often the very geography of the world is one of the biggest obstacles they have to overcome. As the wildebeest approach the Masai Mara, it's not just crocodiles and lions they have to think about. The herds face countless dangers on their long journey, but few can compare to the danger of crossing the rivers. There are many small obstacles that the wildebeest can easily overcome, but the two most difficult crossings are the Mara River in the north and the Grumeti River on the western part of their migration route. Aside from the crocodiles, which are an obvious threat to their lives, many wildebeest, zebras, and other animals also try to cross, but never make it to the other side of the river. One of the first challenges is the deep erosion of the land, caused by the strong current of the river. Because of this, steep riverbanks are formed that they have to overcome even before they can reach the water's edge. Even when the wildebeest find a place to cross, they still don't know how deep the river is. Because of this, many of them are swept away by the strong current. Researchers discovered that in 15 years of study, there were mass drownings of more than 100 wildebeest in 13 of those years. On average, more than 6,000 wildebeest die in the Mara River alone each year during migration. Mountains are another geographical feature that are known to be very difficult to cross. Often, they also serve as natural barriers that prevent many animals from continuing their migration. However, there are species that are highly adapted to this kind of environment. There is even a type of migration that refers to the seasonal use of mountainous ecosystems by animals. This is called altitudinal migration, or the movement of animals to different elevations in the mountains in response to seasonal changes. According to a study published in 2017 in the Journal of Field Ornithology, there are 1,238 species of birds, or more than 10% of all known bird species, that perform this type of migration. Birds have a big advantage because they can fly over the mountains that lie between their origin and their destination. And no other bird does this more impressively than the bar-headed goose. They cross the Himalayas directly, the highest mountain range in the world, and have been recorded flying at altitudes reaching up to 24,000 feet. This is the highest altitude ever recorded for any animal migration. It's even more impressive when you consider that they can fly continuously for up to 17 hours. And part of that flight takes place at an altitude known to humans as the death zone, where the air is extremely thin and oxygen levels are very low. At this point, it's clear that birds are the true experts when it comes to migration. But there is one creature that isn't a bird that also undertakes an extraordinary journey through the skies: the dragonfly. The dragonfly, or tutubee, is featured in an extraordinary story that feels legendary, but if it can be proven to be completely true, it could be considered one of the most remarkable migrations in the world. As part of its migration, the dragonfly travels from India to East Africa, covering an immense distance through the skies. It is believed that the globe skimmer dragonfly can fly from the Maldives to Somalia without stopping. That's a journey of over 2,000 kilometers. Just imagine that this insect weighs only about 300 milligrams and is less than 2 inches long. It's hard to track the globe skimmer because of its small size, but it's clear that its body is built for long-distance flight. It has light but very strong wings with a span of about 3 inches, which gives it the ability to travel very far. If it really does follow this route based on its body size, it would be the longest regular and non-stop migratory flight ever recorded for any animal. Chapter 3: Ecology and Economy. When a large number of individuals of a species arrive in an ecosystem, it can start a chain reaction that has either positive or negative effects on other organisms. Every year, the colorful kokanee and sockeye salmon in the North Pacific travel from the ocean to rivers and other freshwater ecosystems along the coast to spawn. In Alaska, this usually begins in the latter part of June, and the arrival of large numbers of salmon also triggers the subsequent migration of other animals. This includes the arrival of bears along the rivers. According to the U.S. Park Service, the bears in Katmai National Park have only 6 to 8 months to eat enough food to sustain them throughout the entire year. Because of this, the annual arrival of the salmon is one of the most important events, so they can store fat from high-quality food before autumn arrives. There have been some bears recorded eating more than 2 tons of salmon in just one summer. When there are plenty of salmon, the bears only eat about 25% of each fish's body. They leave the remaining parts on the riverbanks and in the grasslands. These leftover carcasses become food for many other animals, including eagles, owls, martins, and minks. In addition, the nutrients from the partially eaten salmon carcasses go into the soil, enriching it and helping more abundant and diverse plants to grow. Because of this, the decline in the population of migratory prey animals like salmon can cause a widespread domino effect that affects the entire ecosystem. The health of an ecosystem, as well as the increase in man-made infrastructures such as roads, fences, and buildings, can have a significant influence on the routes animals take during their migration. There is a population of pronghorn that undertakes the longest land migration in the continental United States. Every year, they travel approximately 240 kilometers from Grand Teton National Park in the north, where they spend the summer, to Green River Valley in the south, which serves as their home during the winter. Every year, the pronghorn follow the same route during their migration. Although there are obvious obstacles like fences and walls, there are also other factors that are less noticeable but have a significant impact on their journey. Many studies have shown that both the type of habitat and man-made structures affect the migratory behavior of pronghorn. This includes their choice of temporary stopover sites and the speed of their travel. In one study, it was found that sagebrush, which makes up a large part of the pronghorn's diet, has the strongest influence on the routes they choose after considering other characteristics of their habitat. Although the study also showed that wind turbines do not directly block their migration, they still have a significant impact, especially during spring. It was found that due to the presence of wind turbines, pronghorns travel faster and spend less time at stopover sites where they usually stop to eat and rest. It's not only animals that are affected by migration. It can also have a significant influence on human behavior and even on the local economy, especially when tourists visit areas where migratory animals pass through. Sandhill cranes spend their winters in the southern states of the United States and in the northern part of Mexico. When migration season comes, they fly together northward to their breeding grounds in Canada and Alaska. During their journey, they stop at certain selected places to rest and look for food. One of the most important stopover sites is the San Luis Valley in the state of Colorado, where the vast wetlands are visited by tens of thousands of sandhill cranes. Because of this breathtaking scenery, many tourists visit the area to witness the amazing migration of the birds. According to a study conducted in 2021, it is estimated that more than 7,500 groups of visitors pass through the San Luis Valley to watch the annual gathering of the sandhill cranes. Specifically, the migration of the sandhill cranes is estimated to add more than $3 million to the local economy each year. This amount comes from tourist spending on hotels, food, gas, shopping, and other services while they visit to witness the amazing migration of the birds. This proves that allocating funds and efforts to protect these migrations is not only important for the survival of the animals, it also provides positive economic benefits and a good return on investment for local governments and communities that protect their natural resources. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you learned something new about the amazing migrations of animals and how they overcome so many challenges on their journeys. But our journey doesn't end here. In part 2, we will take an even closer look at some of the most fascinating ones and the most extreme migrations in the world, along with the incredible strategies of different animals to survive and continue their species. So if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Noel Polo TV. Also, hit the notification bell so you won't miss part 2. Until next time, this is Noel Polo TV saying, let's investigate and find out.